All right, good morning. How's everyone doing? Let's see, we got,
Good morning, Dave.
who is that, Scott? Nice to hear.
Good morning, Dave.
Hey, guys. Hey, Craig. Saw you were in here nice and early. And see, we have several folks coming in through the mobile app, too. Welcome, everybody. And just so you guys know, you can log in through the mobile app if you can't make it into the full program on your computer. You just go to your Play Store on your phone, search for eXp World, and then download it. And then you can come in, and then you can choose what location you can go into. I got someone with a hot mic on, so just hit mute if you're not chatting. All right, and looks like I'm getting a good recording here, so I will post this up on my private YouTube channel later in the day for those folks who couldn't make it in. I just want to cover a few things. Number one, we were at the shareholders meeting in Vegas last Thursday and Friday, and there were about 1,100 of your co-owners out there, and I had such an amazing time. It was cool to see what the company was doing, what's coming down the pipe, and all those kind of things. And for those of you that were there, I'm going to open it up a little bit just to get a little bit of feedback on that and see if you would share a takeaway. But my takeaway, my number one takeaway, was how impressed I was at the culture that was there. In that, I've been going to these things forever in the industry, since 2006 anyway. And there's always an excitement, and there's always information and those things. But the culture of being with everyone, and the time that we had before the events, the time we had during the breaks, the time that we had later in the day, and there were a bunch of folks that stayed for several days afterwards, and to hang out and to get to know these folks was really very, very cool for me. But let me just open it up, and I see a couple of folks that I know were out there. If you guys are wearing headsets and can contribute a little bit, let me see if I can't bounce over to Jeff, if you're there. Jeff Richmond?
Yeah, hey, Dave.
Yeah, Jeff, please.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great seeing you out there. It was great hanging out. I feel like you're now my brother. We've had a little bit of time before and after, and all of those things. And it was great seeing you out there. What was your top takeaways?
Well, I had a bunch, but I think if I was to ties and put a top-down structure around it, I would say first and foremost, you got to get busy, you got to get active, and then I think so getting into action. But additionally, it's the mindset around that. So for me, I had this huge aha that I wasn't actually servicing the greater community of real estate, and I really started to get active, know about this opportunity, because it's not about me, it's about them. And that was a huge thing for me. So it just shifted my mindset.
Yeah, so just dig into that a little bit, because I know it's like a really big aha, and then it kind of caught fire a little bit, in that I think a lot of folks, especially when they're sharing the concept, they might feel that, well, I don't necessarily feel comfortable going and soliciting people to join and those kind of things, because they feel like they're asking them to do something because they're going to make money on it. But tell me a little bit more about that shift, in that the conversation is more about doing it for them.
Well, right. I think that there's this fear that that we can all have, whether we're conscious of it or it's subconscious, that somehow if we're having conversations with people, we're doing it for a selfish reason, right? Like, I want to add a new share, or so that I can get, right, something. And the reality benefit. It's amazing. And it's a beautiful thing that we have that built into the company. At the same time, I'm assuming that we're all here because we've reviewed all options that are available in the industry, and this is the best option for us. And as it turns out, this is the best option for a lot of people. And so, when I'm having a conversation now with someone, and by the way, I've been going nuts over the because I know their structure and I know that this kicks the pants off of it. So I don't have to be thinking about myself. I can come from a place of contribution and be talking to people who, frankly, business, and then also thinking about, frankly, like, how Zig Ziglar talks about translation. For me, this translates up pretty aggressively. And what I mean by that is, even if it's $500 a month, what their cost per lead is, I'm able to help them crunch some numbers and say, look, we're not talking about saving $6,000. We're talking about $6,000 leverage back into your business. That might be 10 more transactions at 5 each, and you're making an extra $50,000. That's, to me, that was a really big takeaway.
I gotcha. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing on that. And so you guys will see, I posted some of the stuff in our Facebook group as the event was going on. I have a few more photos that I grabbed that I'll share as time goes on here. But you guys will be seeing additional announcements come out through Workplace. Make sure you're plugged in there. But pretty excited about the tech the company is developing, where it's really going to go. One of the big tech takeaways that I took was, Scott Petronas, who's our Chief Technology Officer, said something that was very powerful, and I don't think most people really understand the power of what's getting built here. And so, this might be a good place to share it. So EXP is a single brokerage, right? We're not a franchise, and so franchises can have, hundreds of separate brokerages, and they're independently owned. So when they do their IDX agreements to get the data feeds, that is through the broker, right? So, if an office, astrides, 3 MLS services, they can subscribe to all 3 of them, and then they can merge that data together into a single website, and that makes their website a little bit more robust. But if they were 3 franchises and they all had their own IDX feed, they can't merge them together. And so EXP currently has 320 MLSs and MLS feeds. There's another, don't quote me on it, it's either 60 or 80 MLSs in process of being opened. And so that's going to bring us up very close to 400 in a very near future. And so what that allows for us to do is we're getting all of these feeds. Currently they feed into all the agent sites that are in those areas. But eventually what it'll allow our tech team to do is to bring them all into a single data feed. And there's a lot of work to be done because there's no unified service or no unified platform that this field always has this or those kind of things. So there's a lot of data mapping that needs to occur. So we're probably a few years away from this being a reality. But conceptually, we can build out a single website platform that would rival the likes of Zillow, right? Because we can have 400 or 500 or 600 MLS data feeds going into a single consumer-facing website. And that is a huge disruptor. There's no other brokerage that has the footprint that we have. We're the #1 brokerage when it comes to footprint covered, which is represented by MLSs. So that's huge. That's powerful. The other thing that I want to talk about is the EXP events typically don't focus a whole lot on growth, expansion, agent attraction, recruiting agents, however you want to phrase it. And the company is a real estate company, and it focuses on providing agents with value as a brokerage. And so we focus on, the stock, the awards, how to qualify for that, how to grow your business, how to serve your clients at a higher level, training and all of those kinds of things. The growth part of it is really up to us to understand and to learn how to be an attractologist, the science and art of attraction, and those kind of things. And so I decided kind of at the last minute, I think it was only a couple weeks lead time, that I would create a meeting and invite our group, and we're about 940 agents today. And so for those going out to Vegas, let's get together and let's meet face to face and let's talk. So I know we do this every week in here, and but I thought there'd be a lot of value, in face to face stuff. And so I booked it and gave you guys the opportunity to help share the cost of the room. And we sold it out, and we had a bunch of our folks there. And so what it turned into was a 4-hour event. And I'm not a great planner on these things. I had no breaks. It was just straight content. And I figured if people needed to use the facilities, they would. And so I did 2 hours on the tactics and strategies, the scripts and dialogue, like I do in here. But it was just kind of cool to get it all in one spot. And we did some Q&A and those kind of things. And then I asked someone in another group, someone by the name of Brent Gove, to come in and share his successes. Now, Brent's been with us about maybe 14 months or so, and he's attracted a little over 50 people direct. And to be fair, he came over with about 20. He had a big team, and he's added about 30 or 32 in that time. So he's doing a great job. I wanted him to talk about that, and his team now is over 1,000 people, which I think is amazing and an inspiration, and I wanted him to talk about that. And he was an absolute rock star. Everyone was, laughing with him and crying with him, and what a great guy. Let me just jump back out here. Jeff, if you're still on here, would you mind just sharing any takeaways that that you got from Brent?
Yeah, actually, I took pretty good notes during the session. Let me pull those up. For those of you who were there, Brent gets everybody pretty. He's like that guy, right? He's the former pastor, I think, or something. So you really get a value out of it. But one of the things that we were talking about a lot in his session was this idea of getting desperate. He called it not needy but desperate. And he said everybody's job, your job, if you really understand the opportunity that's in front of you, the goal in your life and business should be to get 10 first-line direct recruits, all of whom are cappers in the next 30 days. And he said you should just be desperate for that. So I really liked that word desperate because it kind of is this do whatever it takes. Remember, coach with Tony DeCello for taking listings, and he would always say, if you had to take a listing today, like some member of your family was, this is this hypothetical thing, taken hostage or something, and the only way to get them back was you had to take a listing by the end of today. Could you figure it out? And the answer was always, well, yeah. Okay. And then the point was, okay, then that means that every day you're not taking a listing, it's because you're choosing not to take a listing because you just told me you could. And I think that was Brent's same mindset, which is this, the reality is, he was saying, if you argue for your limitations, then you get to keep them, right? So you have to be desperate to succeed because you can't just live on your press clippings. You have to just set a big goal and go for it. So that was a big one of my takeaways, Dave.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know I'm putting you on the spot, so I appreciate you running on the fly with me.
No, it's good. Actually, I had one more, Dave, because he had so many great little one-liners and stuff. But one of the ones that stuck with me is he was talking about the disparity between kind of what it is that we do and what most traditional brokerage models, even including some big box models that we all view. But he said the pharaoh wants you to make more bricks to build his pyramid, and for some reason that just like really stuck with me about this idea that you're either building your own dream or you're building someone else's. And it's one of the beauty elements at EXP is that we're all owners because we have equity, we have actual stock game. And I love a good steak, but it's that was a really cool statement. It stuck with me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing so much. Hey, John Coley, got to see you a little bit out there, and I know that you attended the events out there. Do you have the ability to contribute a little bit?
Hello?
Hey, John.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that event, I had no idea. That was just the most power-packed event of those doing it in the company. I think collectively, all the speakers sponsored 75% of the entire company. It was just great tidbits. But what I got from Brent, I'd say Brent Gove stood out that he basically has a war room where he has everything on a wall and all the teams he's trying to recruit and everything that he's looking at, and it's front and center. And he's dedicated at least to agent attraction. And that's something that I took away today. It can't be casual. You do have to time block it. And me being a techie, I like to keep things on the computer, but I think there's a lot to be said for having it on a wall that you look at.
Yeah, thanks for saying.
Every single day.
Yes, thanks for saying that, John. When I was an agent way back in the day, I kept track of everything in a shoebox, right? The old Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar, use the shoebox, and I'm happy to do a class on that at some point if anyone wants that. But then, as technology has come along, I've used, CRMs and all those kind of things, kind of effectively. I am not a pro with that. What I found is if I don't do the right thing with a file, then it doesn't pop up again in the future, and then I lose track of people. And so maybe a month ago or so, I started using the wealth chart that Rob had created and shared, and I thought it was very hokey. I saw Aaron Browning using it, and so I was in a group, and Rob was just reinforcing that it's powerful to have it on the wall. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so I did it, and I put it on the wall. And just that one thing has helped me get so much clarity, because I just get to see all of the people that I have spoken with, and it reminds me that I haven't spoken with them in a while. It's time for me to chat with them. And I just have found it to be some kind of magic. I don't know what it is, but it's working for me. So if you guys do not have a wealth chart, please do one. If you don't know how to do one, post it in the private group. And in fact, in the private group, just do a search for Aaron Browning. He did a post on it, and he actually has a video of one of his agents joining and moving themselves on the wealth chart, which I think is brilliant. But it'll give you an idea of all of that. So anyway, anything else to share, John?
Yeah, Dave, you mentioned that you had a real opportunity for the next 2.5, 3 years. You saw that the opportunities now, we're a young company. There are people, there are agents that have not heard of eXpansion. Do you want to expand on that a little bit? Why now is the greatest opportunity versus 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. So let me talk about the past first, right? When I got here 5 years ago, we only had 272 agents, and in most states we didn't have more than a handful. So no one had heard from us. In many states we did not have any successes. We were really young and raw, and it was pure opportunity without proof. So here we are now, fast forward, we now have 9,000 agents. We're now the 7th largest brokerage. We now have teams that have come over that are doing 400, 500, 600 deals a year. We have teams that have come over with 20, 25 people. We have brokerages that have come over with 40 or 50 people. We just had one commit with 100 people to commit to come over. The momentum right now is real. Back when I got here, I think we were adding 8 people a month in the entire company. Today, just in my little old group, we're adding about 135 a month. The company is adding about 1,000 a month. And so now there's acceptance, now there's proof, now there's adoption, now there's multiplication, now there's rev share checks that are being paid out that are inspirational and motivational. And so I think the momentum will continue to grow and surge. And if you look at our growth rate, right, so I think they said we were 9,300 as we looked at the stage on Thursday or Friday. And I think there's somewhere north of 2,000 people in the queue to join us. And we're adding about 1,000 people a month. So I know I'm not very smart, but if I do some quick math on that, I'm going to guess we're going to end up somewhere around 20,000 by the end of the year. If that's true, if we kept on the same pace, it becomes incredible, but I'm just going to dummy it down. So we've been growing at about 170% for the last 3 years. If I just say 100%, right, if we only double next year, that would put us at 40,000 agents. If we double the next year, that's 80,000 agents. If we double the next year, that's 160,000 agents, which would make us, I think, at that point, because there would be some attrition with some other companies, I think, that could make us the largest total brand in the country, let alone the largest brokerage. And so I think there's this opportunity for incredible wealth creation in the next 2, 3, 3.5 years. And so I came away with this incredible sense of urgency. I think I've done a pretty good job in the last couple of years focusing on building my revenue share group and working with you guys. I'm on fire. I am working more passionately than I ever have because I truly believe that it's really who can identify the leaders, who can get them engaged and get them involved in the growth process in the very, very near future to be part of that growth over the next 3 years or so, because that will create the most wealth opportunity. When I look at KW, and I was at KW for 7 years, loved the opportunity there, but when I got there, there were 25,000 agents. The people who were in then building that and grew it to 180,000 or whatever they have today, they had far more of an opportunity to be part of the wealth than the agents who joined there today, right? And for those of us that are here today, we have the greatest opportunity to have the greatest involvement with the growth of the company. And I think it's easy to squander it, right? It's easy to not have a growth conversation today. It's easy to not call the person that you were thinking about calling when you were the most motivated. I had the pleasure to be invited to go back to Phoenix and meet live with some people for Jeff and Lexi. And, I did a Rock the Comma tour event for them, met some great people, and just helping them finalize the process. And I was working yesterday, and Jeff was working in the other room yesterday, and I have never seen a person as impassioned and focused as Jeff was yesterday. And the conversations and the meetings that have come out of that, I think Jeff would say are game changers for his family. And we know, it's for their families and all that, but I really think a destiny was changed just in one day of activity yesterday. And so I encourage everyone that's here.
Yeah, it's awesome, Dave.
Yeah. So so thanks for that. Thanks so much for the prompt. Did you have anything else to add, John? Hey, Jeff, if you're able to jump back in, is there any comment that you would add about one day?
Yeah, I just really quick, I'll let everybody know. I just the growth chart formatted for 24 by 36 poster printing inside the Gap RevShare group. It wants to grab a full digital version of that. It's in there for you, and go ahead and just get it printed somewhere. Pretty cheap printing. I'm sure you can find it cheaper than that. Yeah, I think just getting into action, not burying your head in the sand and saying, I'll make a call another day. That other day may not happen. And the number of times that I know well, not that I'm, not excited for them joining. I'm just not excited for myself for not having made the phone call, because I'm sure I should have had that conversation with them. And so I'm just not willing for that to happen anymore.
Yeah, thanks so much. Deb, I can see that you're remote on the app. I don't know if you have the ability to click in, but Deb came over a few months ago, and we've spoken for a few hours in the process of attraction, but this is the first time that I got to meet you, Deb, face to face. And seeing you and getting a hug and talking about what we're doing was very good for me. So thank you for doing that. If you would you contribute your best takeaway from the week? All right. Not sure if you can jump in there. I know when I'm on the mobile app, sometimes I'm in the car and I can't do that. Dr. Dave.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, there you are, Deb.
I am here, and I am grateful. Thank you so much. You know what? My biggest takeaway from I told Dave when I went to the meeting on Wednesday that he was so kind to host. I was in total awe of the people that were in that room. It was mind blowing, actually. The only thing I would is that there were names over everybody's heads, but it was just amazing to be in that. So that was number one takeaway from that event. It felt so empowered after the 2.5 days that we all spent a sampling of people. I took away that, I am in the right place, and now I'm going to get real serious about attraction. So I thank you, Dave, and all of those in this group for making this such a powerful community.
Hey, thank you so much for contributing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deb. I do adore you. Dr. Dave, we had a chance to break bread and to hang out a little bit. Would you share your top takeaway?
My top takeaway would be that amidst trying to systematize my national outreach is a great fondness that backfills all of the business enterprise platform yakety yak. It allows me to translate that this is deeply personal, joyful, and I'm calling you opportunity candidate XYZ with all give. So it was a very useful and productive conference on the personal side of the business.
Thank you so much, David. I do appreciate you. It was great seeing you too. All right, there's a couple of things that I want to share with you guys, and make notes, do some save the dates, and take some action. And so the company has opened up registration for our next event, which would be eXpCon 2018. It's in NOLA, which is Nolans or New Orleans, depending on how you prefer to hear it. It's a quick-hitting event. I posted the link in the Gagnon RevShare group. I suggest you go in there, lock down your tickets. There's early bird pricing, which saves you some money, and that runs through sometime in early June. Don't wait, grab them. If you think that you're going to be attracting people up into the event, I also recommend that you grab one extra ticket if you want the discounted price. At least do that before they go up. The reason is if you're fully engaged in attraction, you're going to come across somebody, 2 weeks before the event that you wish they could come and share your room and all of that, and we'll still have tickets in all likelihood, but you're going to pay more money for it. So anyway, at least consider doing that. I think more importantly, when you're on the registration page, down at the bottom, there are 2 links for the hotel registration. If you go to the hotels and you try to register, they are blocked out, and one of them is already sold out. If you go to the link within the website, I think they're both still available. For me, I would rather stay at the host hotel, and so that's what I did. And so I've already booked my room and an extra room. I plan on being active enough that I will have someone who wants to come who's not here yet and won't be able to have a room, and I want to be able to help them with that. So anyway, I recommend that you guys do that today, whether you're here live or if you're watching this for the first time later in the week. Book it now, because you will regret not being in the host hotel. And I've not stayed in the host hotel before, to save a few dollars, back in the day, and I always regretted not being in the center of it all. So you guys do what you want. There are other hotels in New Orleans also where you might be able to save a couple of bucks. Do that. But if you're putting 2 to 4 people in a room and sharing the cost with others, there's no reason not to stay as part of the main deal. And so the event,
Dave?
yes.
I went, and the host hotel, I was being told, was sold out, so that the Overflow Hotel on Canal Street, the DoubleTree, is what was available, and the call center, there's nothing that they can do. Speak to the administrator for the event. Do you know who's at point at eX handling the booking?
Just FYI, this morning, guys, I wasn't able to book yesterday, but I used Blink this morning and was able to get into the host hotel, so you might want to try again.
Interesting, thanks.
Yes, yeah, so they turned it on for those of us at the event as a, hey, you came here, you invested your money. Everyone had the opportunity to do it a couple days before it was going to be open to everyone else, David. So there were many folks that intended to do it while they were in Vegas, but they didn't do it. And so then I think the link got shut down, or the block got sold out. Now they've opened an additional block. But if you're thinking about it, do it right now, not at the end of the day, because I'm on it right now. Yeah, no, right now. No, I just know that someone listening to this is going to say, yep, I'm going to do it. They're going to wait till the end of the day, and then it's going to be gone, and then they'll be frustrated. And I posted it while we were at the event, so everyone in this group would have an opportunity to do it, and I know at least one person didn't, right? All right, so we have that, and I can't open the screen here in front of me because I'm recording it here from the cloud office. So I don't recall the dates off the top of my head, but it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so the event is going to kick off officially on that Monday night, and then Tuesday all day, And then Wednesday is a half day, so people can fly out and not have to stay Wednesday night if they don't want to. There's a couple of events that are happening before, and maybe an event that's happening after that I want to share with you. So on that Monday, before the official kickoff in the evening, which is an awards dinner and gala, and so if you're bringing a significant other and you want to bring them to that, you can get a ticket just for the gala. And so they won't be able to get into the agent training stuff, but they'll come into the awards dinner and the gala, have meals, celebrate with everyone, all those kind of fun things. But earlier that day, EXP is going to host a RE bar camp, which and it's open to every realtor in the area across all brokerages and platforms. It's not a recruiting event, although if you went, you might meet some people who aren't with EXP, who you might be able to get into a relationship with, so it might be worth going to. RE Bar Camp is, agents coming, impromptu, what do we want to train on, who has subject matter expertise, breakouts, sharing, collaboration, and those kind of things. They're pretty cool. And so anyway, so we're going to host that earlier in the day on Monday. So I encourage everyone to be there for that. So you should at least come in the day before. The feedback that I got on our growth event in Vegas has been so strong, not just in our group, but in Brent Gove's group, some folks outside of Brent Gove's group who came, friends of mine that came, is I've decided not only to do it again in New Orleans, but to expand it to a full day. And so if you can't make it, that's fine, no pressure. But it's going to go all day from 9 to 5 on that Sunday. And so anyone who wants to attend all of that, I'm recommending that they fly in at least on Saturday. And I've already spoken to several other key leaders around the country who have done amazing things, and they've committed to be speakers in that event. So it's not just going to be me and members of our group. It's going to be across the company. And so it's not a company event. It's not being opened up to the entire company. It's going to be invitation only. So those leaders who are contributing can invite their groups to come. There are some folks in the company that haven't acted in proper culture, in my humble opinion, and quite frankly, I'm not inviting them because they're not in the culture that I would want to have. So it's really invitation only. So what's going to happen is Lexi Sanchez has offered to take the lead on the coordination. And so I think hopefully by the end of this week, maybe middle of next week, we should have a contract negotiated. We should have a location, times, and a pricing structure. Again, I'm going to try to keep it under $100. Not looking to make money on it, just looking to cover the cost. Because we're all owners, we should carry our fair share. And we're going to book it all out. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to post it in our Facebook group and give everyone first opportunity to register. You will have 1 day head start on everybody else. 1 day. And so that's just not you, but be a leader and look at your entire revenue share group and ensure that your key people that would benefit from that event are on it. They might not log into Facebook every day. They may not be thinking about it, but make the calls out, and for those people, get it locked down. So anyway, once that 1 day goes by, then I'm going to open it up to all of the other speakers so they can invite members of their group. And I promise you it will sell out in the first couple of days. And then we'll go back to the hotel and we're going to see if we can get a larger room. If we can't, it's over, it's done. And I know it's a long way away, but we need to make decisions on it now. And so if you want to pick up additional tickets, you're going to have the ability to do that and get guest tickets also. So we got that going on. I love golfing. And I'm bummed that we have not had a golfing event in the last 2 or 3 events that the company has done. And so I'm not going to wait for the company to, see value in doing that or whatever. And so I'm looking for someone in the group who can take responsibility to help me coordinate a golfing event. And what I mean by help me, I mean actually do all the work, and I'll just provide the guidance. And I'm laughing, but I mean it. No, really. So anyway, so if I can get some help with it, I would like to have a golf day the day after the convention, because most people are hanging around. Had great social time with everyone in Vegas. I will never leave an event on the last day again. And so I've booked myself to go out there on the Thursday before and leave the Thursday after, just to have some bookend time and do some more socializing. So if we can do that, I'm going to put together a golfing thing, and then based on responses, we'll book it out. But it'll be limited to a number of groups. So anyways, look for that too. The last event that I want to tell you about, I'm very, very excited about. We're planning on participating in a 1-week-long growth event where each day we'll have some training on expansion, growth, recruiting, scripts, dialogue, tactics, strategies, and then every day we'll have a lot of time for fun, relaxation, golfing, collaboration, whatever you guys find important. And it's going to be a week. It's going to be January 12th through the 19th, and it's going to be in Mexico, and it's going to be at an all-inclusive resort. It will definitely sell out. I only have, there's going to be 1,000 people, 1,000 slots, and I've committed to 100 slots, and that will sell out incredibly quick. So what I would do, mark it on your calendar, talk to your significant others, determine whether that's something that you want to go to as a couple, or if you want to go as a single. I think the pricing is going to be somewhere around $1,100 or $1,200 a head, and it's double occupancy. So anyway, put that in your calendar. I'm going to put a poll up, see who might be interested in that also, and I should be writing a check for that here next week to pre-buy our 100 slots. So I'm going to pause there and just open it up for some Q&A on either the past event and any of the future events, and then we'll open it up for any questions on growth, scripts, dialogue question, anything like that. Okay, so if there's no questions about the upcoming events, let's just get into any questions about growth, any folks that you're talking to and you're stuck on an answer that they've asked you, anything like that.
Yeah, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Devin, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I've got a question. I'm working a Keller Williams agent here in New England. There's a tremendous amount of inventory, and had a nice long meeting with him over lunch, and his response was he can't afford to do anything different right now. He doesn't want to screw up what he has going.
Okay. For someone like that, I would suggest, ask him if he's willing to chat with me, get him on a call with me for a three-way call with you. Because, if someone's got a ton of inventory and all that stuff, it's really not a scripting thing, it's more of a dialogue thing. But where I would start with that is I would ask, how, what would be at risk, right? What in making the move would be things that he couldn't change right now. So he might say, well, I have, 15 listings and my broker won't release them. Well, Keller Williams and RE/MAX both have an international policy that the broker needs to release any unsold active listings, and those kind of things. They also have a policy that if you should leave their organizations, they will continue to pay you in the same manner as though you would have stayed. So your split, or if you're capped, or your fees, or whatever it is, remain the same on those remaining deals until they all close. And so a lot of agents don't remember that from when they join. So that might be one piece of it. or they might have concerns about getting their signs done, and how do I do all that stuff. And so a lot of times what people are saying is, I can't afford to make the change because I don't know what that would look like. And so we can help with that guidance, right? We can help with a transition plan. And typically if they have a solid transition plan that they agree to, then they can envision themselves making the change. Now that said, sometimes in New England, when we're in the spring market, everyone is like, this is the time that I'm making money and I can't afford to get distracted because it means I'll make less money. And if that is a valid issue because of the way they run their business, that's okay. They can join today. They can name a slowdown time 90 days in the future. So let's say June 1st, which is typically where deals stop closing or stop going under agreement and are in the settlement phase, more manageable time. And they could come over, they could sign to come over, they could name a date up to 90 days in the future. They could still recommend other people to us who join and name them. And when they do make the move over within 90 days, they pop right into that slot and they continue to get revenue share from that time forward. So sometimes just them knowing their options, they can still choose to come but manage their transition plan.
Okay, thanks. And in all honesty, this is a guy I have kind of an organic relationship with. And so I kind of sprung the XP opportunity on him, and we were talking about it over lunch, like a formal lunch and learn. So I know he was caught a little bit off guard, but he was very intrigued and just sort of going, well, I can't afford to do anything different, right? So, and to that point, do you have any good scripts or ways for us to organically engage people that we don't already know? Because that's something that's been a little bit of a challenge for me, is I always feel like I have to build up a relationship before I ask them to see the opportunity.
Well, and that's really what I've always taught, Devin. I'm not a spammy guy. And for me, even if I'm calling someone that doesn't know me, I at least need to know them. And so whether it's, a LinkedIn profile, their agent bio, their agent website, I met them at a NAR event, anything like that. I want to know them because for me, it's not about attracting bodies and looking to make money. It's about getting into business with people that I would want to be in business with. And part of that is building a relationship. And so I always think it's worth doing some homework, whether it takes you 5 minutes or 15 minutes. And trust me, there's many times where I look up somebody and I go, boy, I would not want to be associated with someone who represents themselves this way. It's just not professional. And so I won't reach out to them. But if I am calling them, I should have a real legitimate item that I can compliment them on because I've done a little research. And that's where I start. And then I want to find out, how things are going for them. And, if this might be a valuable conversation, if they're open-minded to hearing, how they could do things differently than what they've had for an option in the past. And through that, I feel I'm building a relationship and I'm not just pitching an opportunity as fast as they'll let me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I came to Tempe, Arizona to meet with Jeff and Lexi and to do a Rock the Comma tour for them. And I mean, Jeff and I reached out to him, I don't know, for 6 months or so, every couple months, just to get into a conversation. Because I knew that he was a rock star. I knew he had done some fantastic things. And I knew if he liked the opportunity, he was someone that I wanted to pour some time into. And so eventually he agreed to chat. We did. He did his due diligence. We chatted again. And they ended up making the move over. And I knew he was someone that I wanted to be in business with, which means we're going to have a relationship. Now we've had the opportunity to break bread together. They've invited me to stay in their home. I consider them not only friends, but family after a very short period of time. And and my heart is blessed more than I can express. And I've had the same experience with other great people in this group, as well as people outside of this group that are with the company, and it's really an amazing thing. So I think if you shortchange that process, you shortchange your opportunity. You know, I'll also throw out Christina Macro, who joined us probably a month ago, and I started talking with her because she's a rock star, and we got connected on Facebook, and I got to tell you, she cracks me up. If you are not friends with her, you should friend her or follow her or whatever. She is a funny, funny girl, and I really began to adore her from a personal perspective. And she was not prepared to join. She was not ready to make a change, and we became friends over that time, right? I mean, we hung out at Disney. It was not a recruiting event. It was two friends getting together and having one hell of a time. The reason why we hung out at Disney, she said she had never been. I'm like, oh my God, it's the happiest place on earth. I love that place. And she never goes on roller coasters, hates roller coasters. She went on roller coasters with me, and the whole thing, she was like, no, 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 no. As soon as it was done, she looked at me and said, let's do it again. And I got to tell you, I mean, that's a friend. That's a friend for life. And the fact that she came over when the timing was right for her, it gives me an amazing feeling for her to be my business partner, right? And so I think if people approach attraction from that standpoint, it's much more meaningful with the people that you want to be more meaningful in your life, right? And so sometimes we need to meet people and have conversations and talk to maybe 8, 9, 10 people to find someone who is open-minded, who we can connect with, and those kind of things. But it's not about recruiting them with a magical front phrase. It's about getting into a relationship with them, getting to know them. Is it a good fit? Are you a good fit for them? Right? And I think if you do those things, you can build a company within the company that's meaningful. And I think today I'm at 37 frontline. I got 2 more committed to come. And I promise you guys I'll be 40 wide by the end of next week. And I'm going to say most of those people, it was a very deep conversation in getting to know them before they made the move over. And some moved quickly and relationships have developed after that. And some moved slowly and have not been deeply engaged with me. And I'm bummed about those because I want to be deeply involved. But if their business is cranking and they don't have time to do that, I'm okay with that too. And I have some people that came over quickly and have not engaged in deep, meaningful relationships, and that's okay too, right? When they're ready, they're ready. And so I think it's about having a giver's heart, and if you start from there and realize that we have a wonderful gift to share, and that's what you're trying to accomplish, and not force it upon them, but present it to them that they can take it when they want it, and be skilled enough to help them over their lack of education about it, their concerns, their fears, their doubts. I mean, all of that is knowledge on your behalf and skill set. But I think if you start with a giver's heart and in a position that you're looking to be in a true relationship with someone and not just get them into your business so you can make some money on them, I think it creates deeper relationships that last beyond the business and run very, very deep.
That's great. Thank you. Because yeah, where I am, they're reached out to, and they've already been hard to get around that because they feel like you're just coming after them, even though you're just. But it's it feels sometimes because of that. So
well, yeah,
that's really helpful.
Yeah. So what I'll say, Davin, is the words that come out of your face set the tone, right? And so if I call you and it's all about you joining EXP, that's exactly how they should perceive it. I suggest that you start somewhere in the early part of the conversation being in curiosity about where they are, right? If you know them and you know they've been in real estate for 20 years, you can state that. That proves that you know them. If they've done something cool or special or are known for something, you can share that. And then I try to remember to ask every time, tell me about where you are in your career. Tell me about where you are this year in real estate. Gene Frederick puts it in a term, tame. Tell me about yourself. And so sometimes when you say, tell me about yourself or tell me about your career, tell me what's happening, sometimes that turns into a 5-minute conversation. Sometimes it turns into a half hour, and that's all you planned on, right? A lunch, a coffee, something like that. And you don't get to talk about the opportunity. You don't get to talk about yourself. That's an investment. What you learn about them at that point will help you understand whether there's someone you want to be in business with, and you'll understand what's important to them so you can focus on the part of the company that's most important to them. I think most people just rip the same presentation all the time. These folks that invite people, just to a webinar, well, that's fine for getting the information. That's why I made that 30-minute video for you guys. I want everyone to know the information, but the time that I spend with them is about where are they, where are their needs, where are they going in the future, and what things do we have here that can help them achieve what they want. If you do that, I think you'll find your attraction efforts to be more rewarding and your relationships to be deeper once they come over. So thank you so much for those questions, Davin. That's all we have time for today. Thanks everyone for coming in. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure everyone in your RevShare group is getting a copy of this once I post it up on the YouTube channel. Share it out with them and all of that if you think there's any value in it. I'll be doing it again next week. Any questions, issues, or concerns that you have that you'd like addressed in here, post them in the private Facebook group, and I'll try to get to them all. If not, open up your mics and ask the questions. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.